What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakely, aka Brandon Lee TV. We back at it again with another episode of the Dukes of the Gridiron podcast. Brought my guy Nick Cousin, not your uncle, baby, back on the show. Our Iowa expert. Definitely got to talk about the seeding, the brackets. I mean, LSU and Iowa on the same side. Yeah, Elite Eight rematch potentially with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. It's getting nuts. It's like a soap opera, Nick. Like this is a movie. You can't draw this, you can't make this stuff up.
What does the committee have against Iowa, man? I mean, come on. I mean, this is the first time they're the one seed since before we were born, 1992. And this is
Mhm.
what you do to them. You have to make them beat the team that beat them in the national championship just to get to the Final Four. And then, of course, we know. I mean, the only good thing about the draw is that they avoid South Carolina until the
Yeah,
national championship game. If they even get there, I mean, like Albany Region 2 is the region of doom.
it is. That is a group of death, bro. And Iowa's is hot right now. They're coming off that Big Ten title game. They didn't have to beat Ohio State. They didn't have to beat Indiana. They end up knocking off Nebraska, getting the title, and they earned that one seed respectfully. But you mentioned the group of death that they're in. We still haven't heard word on Molly Davis at all. They do have that one seed though that they wanted. What's the energy out there like right now for you guys?
Oh, the one seed was the goal because last year they made that run as a two seed and they felt a little, disrespected and
Mm,
because they did the same exact thing last year, won the Big Ten, and they did it against Ohio State last year, who was pretty much the same team for the most
yeah.
part. So they felt disrespected a little bit last year, and they this year being the one, they're just like they're coming in and they know that they get to host the first two games in Iowa City, so they can feed off that fan energy, and then
Mhm.
all the fans, and that gives them an easy route to get to Albany at least, and then that's when it gets pretty hard.
Looking at the breakdown, you got LSU at the three seed, who they could potentially see in the Elite Eight. We mentioned Kansas State. We were talking about a little bit about them off camera. You got UCLA, who was regarded as a one seed for majority of the season. They've been ranked as high as number one in the nation. What is the outlook on this bracket for Iowa? How are people reacting to the draw overall?
You have five teams, well, the top five seeds in the region were all in the AP top 25, the top 17 of that top 25. So just load it up, load it up.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Kansas State, and this is like the big matchup everybody's talking about, is Iowa's actually would play them for a third time. They've
Oh,
already
okay.
they've already played twice this year. So Kansas State was one of the only teams that in the non-conference that beat Iowa on their home floor.
Mhm.
Ayoka Lee went off in that game, didn't really have an answer for her down low. And that was really early on in the season when it was mostly just Caitlin Clark doing Caitlin Clark things. And
Yeah.
now as the season has gone on, everyone's kind of picked up their game and it's more of a well-rounded machine now. And then, but they got Kansas State back like no less than 2 weeks later. They played each other in this tournament
Mhm.
down in Florida, and then Iowa beat them there. So it would be a third matchup,
Okay.
second on a neutral site. So that one could get interesting too. But I mean, you can't count out Colorado either at 4-5 matchup. Colorado had, they had a hot start as well and had
Yeah.
the hardest schedules of any Pac-12 team, and that Pac-12 is loading up this field. So the Pac-12 is good,
Yeah.
especially this past year because you got USC a one seed, Stanford just missed out on the one seed.
Mhm.
So it's a loaded field, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you bring up Colorado, one of the best one-two punches there with Jalen Sherrod and Aaronette Von Lay. They beat LSU earlier in the season already, which the first game of the season, which really put them on the map. You mentioned the Pac-12 is ridiculous. UCLA is a team that we've seen multiple analysts pick to be the one to come out of this bracket, Nick.
I've seen experts pick UCLA to go to the championship against South Carolina. I mean, their defense is just so good. I don't know kind of what happened towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
A lot of
they
losses,
fizzled out a little
a
bit.
lot of losses down the stretch for them. So I'm not sure what happened, but you give them a week of rest, trying to figure out some stuff, and you never know. You never know how this, because some tournaments are so weird with on the women's side.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of them are we're all like last Sunday, and here we are the following Monday, and no one's played yet for a lot of the conferences. So you know, it's a really interesting time. A lot of teams are resting up, and
Yeah.
it's interesting to see what happens because by the time Iowa plays on Saturday, it's going to be over 2 weeks since they played. So it would be very interesting to just see. Like, I'm sure there would be a lot of rust early on, but
Mhm.
they're gonna be playing the play-in winner for the 16 seed. So I'm not sure there's gonna be any issues
Right.
in that first game. But it'll just be interesting to see how that rest plays out. Maybe it helps them, maybe it hurts them. Who knows?
Definitely, and it's got to be championship or bust for Iowa this year. Caitlin Clark's last season, right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, what a way to end the legacy. I mean, she's already had such a huge legacy with all the records. I mean, we can be here for another hour listening to all the records that she's broken, and we've already talked about in like how many other podcasts now. But
Hmm. Yeah.
but yeah, no, but there's no better way to cap off her legacy. Not that she needs to do anymore because she's put everything else, but the national championship is the one thing that Caitlin Clark hasn't done. So you know she's trying to get this.
And I know you touched on previous episodes, and we were kind of talking about it when it initially happened. Her going ahead and declaring for the WNBA draft. Now that we shift our focus to that first round of the NCAA tournament and kind of her farewell tour, I mean, Holly Rowe has like disengaged from men's basketball and is gonna personally follow Caitlin Clark around. Like now that decision's out of the way and we're focused solely on the tournament, how big do you think that is even now? Looking back at that moment and like how we are entrenched in this tournament now.
Oh, it's massive. I mean, that was the whole reason why she announced it then, because it was right before their senior day game. She wanted to let all her other teammates that were seniors have their flowers, not just her.
Mhm.
And now she said she can play free from now on. Now we saw that in the Big Ten tournament,
Yeah,
how she played free. She just balled out. I mean, there
giving
was a
out free work.
she struggled in that championship game early on. Only had
Mhm.
5 points in the first half,
Yeah.
but then
Mhm.
look at the second half, 30 piece. She was eating good in Minneapolis that night.
Absolutely.
Or 30 piece with the side of hot sauce on the but
Speaking wicked.
but so yeah, she's ready to go, and she knows she's smart. She's so smart on the floor. Like she knows if she's struggling, now she knows her teammates have picked it up. She can feed her teammates. So she's smart. She'll figure it out. We know she's gonna get the points. It's just a matter of the supporting cast. Will they continue to keep showing up?
What have you seen from this supporting cast? I know like players like Hannah Stokey, who's been the second best player on this team, when they needed her to play big for the most part, she's played big and they've got some other good bigs as far as in this bracket that she's gonna have to square off against.
Oh yeah, we mentioned Ayoka Lee. She's a big, a really good big who was
Mhm.
she was first team All Big 12, really great player. And then yeah, UCLA's got some good bigs.
Yeah,
Colorado, you
Lauren
mentioned
Betts
that.
is the real deal.
Yeah, and Colorado, you mentioned them already. The 1-2 punch there. Yeah, so it's going to be tough. What I was going to have to do and what made them successful in the Big Ten tournament is perimeter shooting.
Yeah.
Uh, They were lighting it up from three. They could not miss. I mean, in the championship game, they had 15 made threes. The semifinal game, 14 made.
Yo,
And it's not just, Kate Martin.
no, talk to me about Gabby
Oh,
Marshall,
yes. Hey, no,
bro.
no, 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 not Gabby Marshall. Gabby Marshall.
Talk to
Marshall.
Oh my goodness.
Bro, her stats in March are ridiculous. She shoots over 50% from the field in March, and the defense, if she
Man.
didn't have those two big blocks at the end against Nebraska, Nebraska's winning that game. I mean, her defense, she's always on the other team's best player. Not Caitlin Clark. Gabby Marshall is on the other team's best player. That's not the center, obviously, but like the
Yeah,
best
best perimeter player.
guard, best
Yeah.
shooter, whatever you want to call. But yeah, I mean, Gabby Marshall. I don't know what it is with her in March, man, but it just goes together.
How big can she be for this team, man? I love it because
Oh man.
she's really picked it up, bro. Like you can tell, like, and you talked about her defense even before like March started, like how her shooting has suffered a little bit, but she's still locking up on D, and we saw that. But now she's been asked to do a little bit more with Davis out of the lineup, and she's starting to hit threes as well more.
And I think it's, she's feeling what Caitlin's feeling. She's getting toward this is her last, this is her farewell tour too.
Mhm.
So I think, she realizes that, she's got to pick up her game, and she knows that, hey, like if I don't pick it up, if I continue to struggle, that's not going to help this team. They're all about the team, and that's what makes it successful. But yeah, I don't know. But Gabby Marshall, when it gets to March, just a different player. It's good that she found her stroke
Yeah,
because she's really struggling with threes. She shot under 40% from three for like the season, but now once she gets to March, she shoots over 40%, close to 50, about 49% from three once you get to March. So don't be leaving her open, defenses that are playing her.
hey,
Put her in the game plan. Don't leave her open for three. But she's gonna block. She's gonna
yeah,
block shots. We saw it. She blocked Logan Nisley's three. That was a big. That would have been a big
she
make.
sealed the game. Yeah.
Jazz Shelley. She blocked Jazz, and Jazz Shelley is an amazing player too. She was making some Caitlin Clark shots in that game.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I mean, her defense is going to be there. We already know that. She solidified that. She showed that, and she showed a little bit of what she can do from
Mhm.
three. If she can just keep that offense consistent, I mean, you got Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin. You already know she can get points. She's had, I think it's like maybe 15 or 16 straight games in double figures. So you can get, if you can get, I mean, Martin's going to score, Caitlin's going to score, Hannah's going to score. If you can get another 4 or 5 in there, like a Gabby shooting, and then a Sydney Falter who had a crazy Big Ten
Yeah.
tournament.
I
I
think
mean,
she's the X factor, bro.
Sydney Falter could honestly make or break this entire run.
I think so.
And she feels disrespected. She wasn't even on the list for sixth
Yeah.
player of the year.
Good or bad.
I mean, she is everywhere. She was getting rebounds. She was making threes. She was everywhere in the Big
Yeah.
Ten, and I don't think Iowa wins without her either. I mean, without Gabby Marshall's defense and Sydney Falter stepping up and creating the offense
Mhm.
by getting a lot of rebounds. I mean, I have to go back and look at how many rebounds, but it was an
She was
insane amount.
snagging them.
It's
Yeah.
an insane amount of rebound. I mean, Sydney Falter, she could be the key man. I feel. I mean, she literally turns this whole team around if she's playing like that.
Both these teams are totally different from last year, but the elephant in the room is the potential of her and Angel Reese, LSU, facing off against Iowa in the Elite Eight. A potential rematch there, man. Two teams that are way different than last year.
Tough, tough. Yeah, I mean LSU, like what we talked about Iowa. They lose their two bigs, McKenna Warnock, Monica Zanano, and that was a big reason why they were able to make it as far as they did last year because they
Yeah,
had that post game. And this year they run with Stelky and or Stokey. They ran it with Stokey, and it's worked, but
right.
it only works really well if they can play well in transition. And when there's been other bigs there, she's gotten in foul trouble. She's had some cold games, so that'll be the big factor. But so Iowa didn't really load up. I mean, they didn't really.
Yeah,
Everyone was saying in the offseason, like, is Iowa gonna get a big? Like, who's gonna want to come play with Caitlin Clark? Like,
right.
they big. Like, and
Who
then
they get?
they didn't get one. They just decided to play a little smaller, play a faster game,
Mhm.
offensively and defensively. But on the other end, LSU loaded up. I mean, they already had Angel Reese, but I mean, they just kept adding. I mean, HLV, and even though she struggled early on, she's figured it out now, and now
Yeah,
everybody on their lineup is scoring. Everybody. I mean, off the bench too.
yeah, no, absolutely, man. Definitely HBL. Haley Van Lith has figured it out playing that point guard position. She's been a more aggressive, hunting her shot, scoring the basketball. Of course, Angel Reese is a monster. Michaela Williams, one of the best freshmen in the nation. Flau'jae Johnson, incredible. They got a really good team. But could Iowa's because LSU they go about 7 deep. We're not sure about Last Terpola. their point guard that had her that bad fall and hit her head real bad, and she's still out. My previous video, she gave an update on her status, kind of where she's at. We're not sure if she's gonna be in this tournament, so if they do match up, could Iowa's bench be a deciding factor for them?
I think so. And I think it goes back to the threes because if you look at the Big Ten tournament and leading up to the Big Ten tournament, off the bench, Kylie Feuerbach, she's been huge for Iowa.
Mhm.
She last year she had an ACL injury, so she didn't play, but she actually was at Iowa State her freshman year, then transferred over to Iowa before the season started, tore her
Okay.
ACL, so she couldn't play. But she's been a huge factor for this team, especially from she's another one that can just hit those threes. I mean, Iowa, I mean, it's death taxes and shooting threes. I mean, that's literally what Iowa's game is. So if you can get Kylie Fallbach to come off the bench, and lately Taylor McCabe, who didn't really get a lot of playing time in the beginning of the seasons, now all of a sudden coming off the bench and getting threes. She was the former Miss Nebraska basketball, and
Okay.
she wasn't really projected to play that many minutes, but she was coming in and making threes, and that's what head coach Lisa Bluter wants to see. And so she's been getting a lot of minutes, and so it's really been those two coming off the bench, and they do have a lot of depth in their big position with AJ Edinger, and but I mean they want to play Stelky though, that because
Yeah.
that so I don't really see that being a factor. If Stelky gets in foul trouble, they have bigs they can put out there.
Mhm.
But Stelky is definitely the one that probably should be out there for the majority of the time.
Yeah, yeah, she's got to play big. She's got to get active and beat them other bigs
And,
down the floor in
and Molly
transition.
Davis is. There hasn't been any update on her, but
Yeah.
that would be a big loss too because that's just another scorer that you don't have.
What, third leading scorer on the team?
Yeah, she was third. Yeah, so if she, I mean, you might not need her for the first weekend, but if you're trying to beat LSU, Kansas State,
Mhm.
you need as much scoring as possible. You need as much offense to get that done.
Absolutely. Do you think, as far as like the first matchup, we're gonna be looking for them to just come out. They're gonna do damage, but they want to, keep a clean game, make shots, get into a rhythm as they get deeper into the tournament. What are the final keys for you that they need? What does Iowa need to do to be the team to advance? And are they being disrespected right now? Because it seems like nobody is picking them to really advance past, um, LSU or UCLA, like they're picking other teams in this bracket.
Yeah, I mean, disrespected, like really though. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, if they get to the championship game, you can't say that they haven't earned that
Facts.
because
Yeah.
they're going through a gauntlet, dude. Like it's insane. But like I said, I mean this. I've said it so many times. Like I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it really is like the heart and soul of this team is if they can make threes.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you how many threes they made in the Big Ten tournament, and
Mhm.
that's like no lie. Like if they can make threes, that's how they're going to beat teams. Especially if you play Kansas State, Colorado, UCLA, who have bigs and play really good defense inside and try to pound the paint. If you can stretch that defense out, make them come to the outside,
Mhm.
hit some threes. I think that's going to be the key for Iowa going forward. The biggest key uh, is getting that perimeter shooting going and stretch the defenses that are really going to on offense on the other end pound it inside with their bigs.
Major key.
Major key.
Major key. Hey man, well, it's definitely gonna be a great tournament. We'll definitely keep y'all posted with all the latest as Iowa makes this attempted run to get back to the
I'll say
national title.
this too, real quick,
Yeah,
real quick, real quick. I hope it's Iowa and Princeton in the second round game because then we have two CCs going up against each other. Caitlin Clark and then Chen, who plays for
yeah.
Princeton.
Bro, I saw she's in the
Yeah,
transfer portal. Is she gonna play?
yeah, she's Caitlin Chen and Caitlin Clark. We got two Caitlins,
Yeah.
two
Chen
CCs.
is the truth, man. She was Ivy League Conference Player of the Year.
Oh yeah, and she's in the transfer portal, and I think she's gonna. I mean, she's gonna play out the tournament run, but next year she'll probably be on a Power Five team somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. The transfer portal was loaded. I got a video dropping later about that as well. It's been nuts. Oh goodness. And we're in the
Why?
middle of the
Tell me
season.
why it's open now. When
Right.
we need to be talking about the NCAA tournament, not people transferring.
Middle of the postseason, but we got people averaging 20 points per game hopping in the transfer portal. I don't know if it's last season, this season. I don't know how they're phrasing it. We still in the middle of the postseason
But
right
the
now.
good thing is this next upcoming season is the last of the COVID eligibility madness.
Yeah. No more
So
25-year-olds playing college.
so coaches can go back to actually recruiting high school kids.
Absolutely. I don't think the transfer portal's going anywhere, but it's just the fact that you ain't gonna have 6 year, 7 year seniors on your squad no more. Because it was getting ridiculous.
It's like the older the team, the better. Now you're going to actually have to build up recruits again and develop your teams over time, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. You got to be able to mold talent as a coach. Nick, let them know where to find you at on social media, my guy.
Well, like we always say,
Talk to them.
if you don't put the Z, don't say it at all. And cuz NCOUZ, that's on Instagram and Twitter. Those are where I post most of my stuff. You can watch it all on there. And we ready to go, man. National TV Saturday, 2 o'clock, ABC. We getting it.
It's live. It's live, Hawkeyes. It's live. And that's a wrap for us. For all the latest and the greatest, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This has been the Dukes of the Gridiron Podcast, powered by Bleed Network. Until next time, hey, we out.